This video is about he was a student until a rich lady changed his whole life. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. Asterisk, he was a student until a rich lady changed his whole life. Part 1 asterisk. In the heart of a bustling city, a modest community college, there sat a student named Marcus. He was the kind of person who blended into the background, a quiet young man with an insatiable thirst for knowledge. His tattered backpack was always filled with worn textbooks that bore witness to late-night study sessions. Despite his humble circumstances, Marcus was deeply passionate about literature, often losing himself in the worlds created by his favorite authors. Each day, after his classes, Marcus worked at a local diner to make ends meet. The clattering of dishes and the chatter of customers formed a chaotic symphony around him. Yet, he found solace in the rhythm of his work, taking pride in serving others. He wore a crooked smile, which, to the untrained eye, seemed to mask his struggles. But beneath that facade lay a well of dreams and unfulfilled potential. "Hey, Marcus, you forgot the coffee order for table 5, shouted Jenna, his co-worker, breaking his train of thought. Right, I'll get it, he replied, rushing back to the kitchen, where the aroma of frying eggs mingled with the scent of freshly brewed coffee. This was his life, a daily grind filled with work and study, punctuated by fleeting moments of joy shared with co-workers. One fateful evening, while Marcus was serving a group of well-dressed patrons, he noticed an older woman at a corner table. She sat alone, elegantly dressed in a deep blue gown that shone under the diner as fluorescent lights. Her silver hair framed her face in soft waves, and her eyes sparkled with a warmth that immediately caught his attention. "Excuse me, darling," she spoke, her voice smooth and inviting. "Could you recommend something on the menu?" "Of course, Mom. The pancakes are really popular," he said, trying to suppress his nerves. "They're really fluffy and served with fresh berries. Can I get you a drink while you decide?" "Just water for now, thank you," she replied, her eyes keenly studying him. "And I'll have the pancakes, please." As he poured her water, he felt a strange connection. There was something about her presence that resonated with him, as if she understood the weight he carried. "Are you a student?" she inquired, breaking the silence as she sipped her water. "Yes, at the community college. I am studying literature," Marcus answered, surprised at how easily the words flowed. "It is my passion." "Ah, literature, the gateway to understanding our humanity," she mused. "Have you thought about what you want to do after college?" "I dream of becoming a writer," he confessed, a hint of vulnerability in his voice. "But it feels impossible sometimes. I work so much, and money is tight." The woman's eyes softened, and she nodded knowingly. "Dreams often seem impossible until we take the first step. You must believe in yourself, dear." As she spoke, Marcus found himself captivated not only by her words but by the kindness radiating from her. She was a rich lady, without a doubt. Yet, she treated him as if they were equals, sharing a moment that felt like a lifeline in his otherwise arduous journey. When she finished her meal, she called him back to the table. "I'd like to offer you something, Marcus, something I wish someone had offered me when I was your age." His heart raced. Was she going to offer him a job? A scholarship? "I have a small foundation that supports students like you. If you're really willing to pursue your dreams, I can help you with tuition and some living expenses. You just need to promise to put your heart into your writing." Marcus's breath hitched in his throat. "Are you serious?" I don't know what to say. "You don't have to say anything now. Just think about it. You have potential, dear. Don't let it slip away," she encouraged, her voice a soothing balm for his anxious mind. After what felt like an eternity, he finally found his voice. "I'd love to do it, but I just can't believe someone would want to help me." "Believe it, Marcus, there are good people in this world. You just have to find them," she said, her smile illuminating the dim diner. That night, as Marcus walked home, the weight on his shoulders felt a little lighter. A whirlwind of emotions swirled inside him. He had faced countless obstacles, financial struggles, self-doubt, the weight of responsibilities, but one conversation had ignited a flicker of hope within him. The next morning, he sat at his desk, the morning light filtering through his window, illuminating the pages of his notebook. He began to write, pouring out his thoughts and dreams with newfound fervor. The ink flowed like the river of his aspirations, each word anchoring him closer to the future he yearned for. Days turned into weeks, and Marcus found himself meeting with the lady whose name was Beatrice. With her guidance, he enrolled in more advanced literature classes. She challenged him to push beyond his limits, to explore diverse genres, and to harness the power of his voice. "Marcus, your story matters. Never forget that," Beatrice would say, her encouragement lifting him higher each time they met. As the season changed, so did Marcus. He began submitting his work to local contests and literary magazines, receiving words of praise along with the inevitable rejections. But he held on to Beatrice's mantra, perseverance is key. In moments of doubt, when he felt like giving up, he would visit the diner, where Jenna and his other co-workers would remind him of the remarkable journey he was on. "You're destined for greatness, Marcus," Jenna would say, pouring him a cup of coffee. "Don't ye forget us little people when you're famous." The laughter and camaraderie formed a safety net for him, cushioning the harsh blows of the writing world. Though he continued to work hard at the diner, his heart was no longer burdened with despair. Instead, it brimmed with possibility. One rainy night, as he returned home from a particularly grueling shift, his phone buzzed with an email notification. He pulled it out and his heart raced as he read the subject line, "Congratulations." He had won a local writing contest. The prize was not only a cash award but also a publishing opportunity. Tears welled in his eyes as he realized that all his late nights and early mornings had finally paid off. With each step, he felt lighter, buoyed by an overwhelming sense of gratitude. It wasn't just about the money or the recognition, it was the validation of his talent, the belief that had blossomed through Beatrice's mentorship and the support from his friends at the diner. As he sat down to write a thank you note to Beatrice, he paused, reflecting on how far he had come. The journey was far from over, but for the first time in his life, Marcus felt truly alive and ready to embrace whatever came next. This was just the beginning, after all. It was a life transformed by the kindness of a stranger, and he was determined to pay it forward. Little did he know, this connection would lead him to more than just personal success. It would set in motion a chain of events that would alter the lives of others in profound ways. And so, with each word penned and each page turned, hope and resilience grew within him, lighting the path ahead. He was a student until a rich lady changed his whole life. Part 2. Winter turned to spring, and with each passing day, Marcus's world blossomed in ways he had never imagined. The once dim prospects of his future were illuminated by a vibrant tapestry of dreams woven together with the threads of perseverance and mentorship. At the diner, the familiar sounds of clanking silverware and sizzling grills filled the air, but for Marcus, each shift was now infused with a sense of purpose. His heart swelled with gratitude as he navigated the bustling tables, serving meals to people who unknowingly inspired his creativity through their stories. "Hey, Marcus, you look happier than usual," Jenna teased one day, flipping pancakes with her usual flair. His smile widened. "I guess I am, with the writing contest win and all, it feels like everything is finally coming together. Just remember when you're rich and famous, you owe us free coffee," she laughed, a twinkle of mischief in her eyes. "A deal," he replied, savoring their banter. After his shift, he was eager to dive back into his writing. Beatrice had introduced him to a local writers group that met weekly at the community center. Each gathering brought together aspiring writers from various walks of life, all sharing their stories and struggles. One Thursday evening, as rain pattered against the winters, Marcus found himself seated among a diverse group of voices. An older gentleman, Harold, with graying hair and a gentle smile, shared a poignant piece about loss and healing. "The beauty of writing," he said, "is that it allows us to hold onto our memories while creating new ones. We're all artists in our own way, painting our lives with words." As the group discussed their pieces, Marcus felt a surge of confidence. He shared a poem he had written about resilience, the journey he had undertaken from uncertainty to hope. "That was beautiful, Marcus," said Aisha, a young woman who had recently lost her job but remained undeterred in her pursuit of writing. "Your words resonate so deeply, I felt like you were telling my story." In that moment, Marcus realized the power of connection through storytelling. Each person in the room was battling their own struggles, yet here they were, united in creativity, lifting each other with their shared experiences. After the session, Beatrice approached him, her eyes reflecting pride. "You're making an impact, Marcus. Keep writing. Your voice is a gift." With her encouragement, his writing career began to flourish. 2 months later, he received an email confirming his acceptance into a prestigious writer's workshop. The excitement felt surreal, as if the universe was aligning to usher him into a new chapter. However, with the opportunity came new challenges. The cost of the workshop loomed over him like a storm cloud, threatening to overshadow his newfound joy. "Marcus, you've come so far," Beatrice said during one of their meetings, sensing his unease. "Consider applying for a scholarship. Many organizations are eager to support emerging writers. You can do this." "I don't want to burden you," he replied, his voice laced with apprehension. "Burden? No, my dear, you are not a burden. Yuri a beacon of hope for others, she insisted. Believe in yourself, Yuri worthy of every opportunity. Gathering courage, Marcus committed to the scholarship application. He poured his heart into each essay, recounting his journey and the support that had helped him rise from the depths of uncertainty. As the deadline approached, self-doubt crept in like an unwelcome guest. Late one night, he scribbled furiously in his notebook, channeling his fears into words. What if I am not enough? What if they don't see my potential? Just as despair threatened to take root, he remembered Beatrice's words. You have potential, dear. Don't let it slip away. Closing his eyes, he took a deep breath, and in that moment, he resolved to embrace possibility over fear. Weeks passed, and he anxiously awaited a response. Each day, he opened his email with hope, only to face disappointment. Until one afternoon, the long-awaited message appeared. Congratulations, we are pleased to offer you a full scholarship. Overwhelmed with emotion, Marcus could hardly believe his eyes. Tears filled his vision as he clutched the laptop. The joy was palpable. He had done it. All the late nights and doubts melted away, replaced with a deep sense of purpose. Marcus, what is wrong? Jenna exclaimed, peeking over from the counter as he stood frozen in disbelief. I got the scholarship, he shouted, his voice choked with excitement. The diner erupted in cheers, and his coworkers surrounded him, lifting him in a spontaneous celebration. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and camaraderie, he felt an overwhelming surge of love and encouragement. Just remember us when you read on the bestseller list. Jenna teased, throwing an arm around him. I'll make sure to dedicate my first book to you all, he laughed, feeling a warmth in his heart that only true friendship could bring. As the workshop approached, Marcus found himself immersed in a whirlwind of emotions, excitement, anticipation, and an undercurrent of anxiety. On the day of the first session, he arrived at the venue, heart racing, surrounded by accomplished authors and fellow budding writers. The workshops were intense, filled with feedback sessions, writing prompts, and guest lectures from those he had admired for years. Each moment was a gift, a chance to grow and learn. But alongside the exhilaration came moments of self-doubt. One evening, as he sat in a circle with his peers, he listened to a fellow writer, Alina, share her story of rejection and resilience. I faced countless no's before I found my yes, she said, her eyes glowing with determination. Marcus couldn't help but feel a pang of anxiety. What if he never found his yes? He struggled to silence the nagging voice of doubt that echoed in his mind. Later that night, he stepped outside for some fresh air, feeling the cool breeze on his face. As he gazed at the stars twinkling against the darkness, he allowed himself a moment of vulnerability. I am scared, he whispered to the universe. What if I am not good enough? As a faint response, his phone buzzed with a message from Beatrice. Remember, my dear, every great writer has faced rejection. What matters is your willingness to keep writing. You are enough. Renewed with hope, Marcus returned to his workshop, determined to embrace the journey ahead. He poured every ounce of his heart into his writing, weaving his experiences and fears into raw, honest narratives. Days turned into weeks, and as the workshop came to an end, he found himself presenting his final piece, a collection of stories that intertwined the lives of those who had inspired him along the way. When he finished reading, the room erupted in applause, and he felt a wave of validation wash over him. In that moment, he understood that writing was not just about personal success, it was about connection and healing. Your words have the power to inspire others, his mentor, Juliana, said, her voice thick with emotion. Never stop sharing your truth. Returning home, Marcus knew that his journey was far from complete. He had found his voice, but he wanted to uplift others as Beatrice had done for him. Inspired, he began to volunteer at the community center, offering free writing workshops to those who wished to share their stories. As he guided others through the transformative power of writing, he saw the same flickers of hope ignite in their eyes that had once sparked within him. The circle of kindness and encouragement continued to grow, encompassing those who needed it most. One afternoon, during a workshop, a young girl named Lily shared a heartfelt story about her struggles with bullying. Her voice trembled as she read, but the strength in her words moved everyone. Your story is powerful, Lily, Marcus encouraged, his heart swelling with pride. You are not alone. Keep writing and remember that your voice matters. Tears brimmed in Lily's eyes as she smiled, and in that moment, Marcus realized the true essence of his journey. He was not just a student or a writer, he was a beacon of hope for others, illuminating paths through the power of storytelling. As seasons changed and time marched on, Marcus continued to write, teach, and inspire. With Beatrice's unwavering support by his side, he published his first collection of stories, dedicating it to her and all those who had lifted him along the way. As he held the final copy in his hands, the enormity of the journey washed over him. It wasn't just about his success, it was about the resilience of the human spirit, the kindness of a stranger, and the beauty of connection through words. In the heart of the bustling city, where dreams intertwined with reality, Marcus stood tall, no longer just a student but a storyteller, a mentor, and a friend. And he knew, deep in his heart, that the journey would continue, illuminating lives along the way, one story at a time. **** He was a student until a rich lady changed his whole life. Part 3 ****. As the vibrant colors of spring began to fade into the warmth of summer, Marcus felt a palpable shift in his life. Each day was filled with opportunities, yet the underlying struggle of balancing work, writing, and teaching remained. The weight of responsibility had not vanished. Instead, it transformed into a driving force that fueled his passion. One afternoon, while he prepared for a writing workshop at the community center, he received a text from Beatrice. It read, "Remember, my dear, the storms of today lead to the blossoms of tomorrow. Keep nurturing your garden." He smiled, her words serving as both a reminder and a soothing balm for the worries that often crept in. "Hey, Marcus, ready for another round of inspiration?" Jenna called out, her vibrant energy lighting up the diner where he was working. She flipped a burger on the grill, the sizzle matching the excitement in her voice. "Absolutely. Today, we'll explore the magic of metaphors," he replied, pouring coffee into a mug, taking a moment to appreciate the rhythm of their banter. "Just don't forget us when you read famous," she added with a wink. As he walked to the community center, Marcus reflected on how much had changed in such a short time. The once uncertain student had evolved into a figure of encouragement, someone others looked up to. Yet, with growth came challenges he had not anticipated. That evening, the workshop was filled with eager faces, but one stood out to a young man named Ethan, who sat quietly in the corner, his eyes shadowed with self-doubt. As Marcus began the session, he noticed Ethan's knees, the way he fidgeted with his notebook, hesitating to share. "Today, let's talk about vulnerability," Marcus introduced, his voice steady. "Writing is about connecting, and that requires us to be brave." After a few pieces were read, Ethan finally raised his hand. "I am not sure if I can do this. My writing feels too personal, too flawed." "Flawed is beautiful," Marcus encouraged, moving closer to Ethan. "Share your truth. It is the imperfections that often resonate the most." With a shaky breath, Ethan began to recite a poem about his struggles with anxiety. The words tumbled forth, raw and unfiltered. The room was silent, each listener absorbed in the emotion spilling from his heart. When he finished, there were no words of critique, only a profound silence, followed by a wave of applause. Tears glistened in Ethan's eyes as he looked at Marcus, who smiled warmly. "See, you have a gift. Your vulnerability is your strength." That night, Marcus returned home, exhaustion mingling with fulfillment. He had seen the transformative power of sharing stories, how it could lift the weight of the world off one's shoulders. But as he sat down to write, a familiar voice of doubt began to whisper in his mind. "What if I am leading them astray? What if I don't have all the answers?" he muttered to himself, grasping the pen tightly. Just then, a notification pinged on his phone, a message from Beatrice. "Remember, darling, every teacher was once a student. Trust in the wisdom you're regaining. You're redoing more than you know." He took a deep breath, reminding himself that he was not alone on this journey. He had a community, a purpose, and the gift of storytelling to guide him. With renewed determination, he began to write feverishly, letting the words flow like a river that had finally found its course. Weeks passed, and as summer reached its zenith, Marcus decided to organize a storytelling event at the community center. He wanted to create a space where writers could share their journeys, fostering connection and resilience among the diverse participants. "Sounds like a fantastic idea," Aish exclaimed while they gathered to brainstorm. "Let us call it Voices of Resilience." "Absolutely, we can invite local musicians too," Marcus suggested, excitement bubbling within him. They divided responsibilities, each member contributing ideas infused with their own unique perspectives. On the day of the event, the community center was alive with anticipation. Colorful banners adorned the walls, and chairs filled with eager attendees created a palpable buzz in the air. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow through the windows, Marcus took a deep breath and stepped up to the microphone. "Welcome, everyone, to Voices of Resilience. Tonight, we'll all celebrate the beauty of our stories and the strength within us," he announced, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. As the evening unfolded, stories poured forth like a cascade of hope from each speaker. An elderly woman spoke of her journey through loss, a young artist shared her fight against self-doubt, and Ethan, reclaimed from his earlier hesitations, delivered a powerful spoken-word piece that left the audience in awe. "I realize my pain does not define me," he said, his voice stronger than before. "My words are my armor, and I stand tall because of them." When the night ended, the applause echoed like a heartbeat, a rhythm of solidarity that resonated within each soul present. Marcus felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing he had created a safe space to inspire others. Later, as they cleaned up, Aisha approached him, her eyes gleaming. "You are amazing tonight, Marcus. You brought us all together." "It wasn't just me," he replied, a smile playing on his lips. "We did this together. Everyone contributed their magic." That night, as he lay in bed, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that something profound had shifted. The need for validation had transformed into a desire to uplift others. But life had its own plans, and a storm was brewing just beyond the horizon. A few weeks later, just as his momentum began to build, Marcus received an unexpected blow. An email from the literary magazine he had submitted to arrived with the unfortunate news: "We regret to inform you that your piece has not been selected." The words stung like icy rain, each one a reminder of the countless efforts that had led to this moment. A wave of self-doubt washed over him, threatening to drown out the joy he had cultivated. "Maybe I am not cut out for this," he whispered to himself, staring blankly at his laptop screen. "Maybe I should just focus on teaching." In that moment of despair, his phone buzzed again, another message from Beatrice. "It is okay to feel down, dear. Remember, every great author has faced rejection. What defines us is not the setback, but how we rise." With her words echoing in his mind, he forced himself to rise from the depths of despair. It was time to lean into resilience. The following day, he met with his writing group, sharing his disappointment. "I was so close," he admitted, his voice tinged with sadness. "But you are still here," Aisha reminded him gently, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Your voice matters more than a single rejection. Keep writing." Their encouragement ignited a spark within him. He returned home, energized by their belief in him. He wrote tirelessly, pouring his heart into new stories, determined to embrace every moment of inspiration that life would throw his way. Days turned into weeks, and just as summer began to fade, Marcus received another email, this time from a well-known literary journal, expressing interest in publishing his latest piece. The joy erupted within him like fireworks lighting up the night sky. "I can't believe it," he shouted, his heart racing as he shared the news with Jenna and the others at the diner. "See? I told you he redestined for greatness." Jenna beamed, pouring celebratory cups of coffee. In that moment, the diner felt like home, filled with laughter, encouragement, and the warmth of friendships forged through shared dreams. As the news spread, Marcus was invited to read at a local literary festival in front of a larger audience. Anxiety gripped him at the thought, but he remembered Beatrice's words. Embracing vulnerability was part of the journey. On the day of the festival, he stood on stage, his heart racing as he faced the crowd. "Writing," he began, "is about connection. It is about finding the strength to tell our stories, no matter how difficult." He shared his journey, the struggles, and the moments of doubt that had shaped him. As he read his work, the audience resonated with each line, the energy in the room palpable. When he finished, the applause felt like a warm embrace, wrapping around him like a cocoon of love and support. In that moment, he realized that he was not just a student or a teacher, he was part of something larger, a community united by storytelling and resilience. As he stepped down from the stage, a sense of fulfillment washed over him. He had learned that the power of words extended far beyond the confines of a page. It formed connections, healed wounds, and fostered hope. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Marcus knew that his journey was just beginning. The road ahead might be paved with challenges, but each obstacle would be met with strength, kindness, and a spirit of perseverance. He had transformed from a quiet student into a beacon of hope, illuminating the path for others through the beauty of storytelling. And he was determined to continue, one story at a time. ***, he was a student until a rich lady changed his whole life. Part 4. ***. As summer began to wane, Marcus sensed a change in the air, not just in the crispness of the mornings, but in the deeper currents of life around him. Each day felt like a canvas waiting to be painted, and he was determined to wield the brush. Teaching, writing, and supporting others had become his purpose, yet there was a tug of something deeper, a desire to share his journey beyond the walls of the community center. "Marcus, do you ever think about what is next?" Aish asked one day, her brow furrowed as they organized materials for their upcoming workshop. You read doing so much already, but what about your own writing? He paused, contemplating her words. I want to write a novel, he admitted, his voice tinged with both excitement and fear. But I don't know if I am ready. You've already written so many beautiful pieces, Aisha encouraged, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. What is stopping you? I guess that's just the fear of failure, he confessed, running a hand through his hair. What if I can't finish it? What if it is not good enough? Aisha shook her head, her expression unwavering. I'll never know until you try. Just think of it as another story waiting to be told. The world needs your voice, Marcus. Her words lingered in the air like a gentle breeze caressing his doubts away. That evening, as he lay in bed, he couldn't shake the thought of Aisha's encouragement. Perhaps this was the season to embrace risk, to step into the unknown with all the hope and determination he had cultivated. The next day, he opened a blank document on his laptop, a cursor blinking at him like a heartbeat urging him to begin. But as he stared at the empty screen, the self-doubt crept in again. What if I am not good enough? He whispered to himself. Marcus up. His phone buzzed with a message from Beatrice, as if she had sensed his turmoil. Remember, perfection is the enemy of progress. Just right, you have a story inside you waiting to breathe. Taking a deep breath, he let her words guide him. He began typing, each word flowing like a river breaking free of its dam. The narrative unfolded, a tapestry of characters and emotions interwoven with the struggles he had faced, the weight of doubt, the beauty of hope, and the power of resilience. As days turned into weeks, Marcus found himself lost in the story. He poured his heart onto the pages, crafting characters who mirrored the people in his life, each one a reflection of the resilience that resonated within him. The act of writing became a sanctuary, a space where he could explore the depths of his emotions without fear of judgment. Yet, as he forged ahead, the shadows of doubt slinked closer. What if this is all for nothing? He questioned late one night, the glow of the screen illuminating his worried expression. Marcus, are you still up? Jen's voice broke through the silence as she knocked on his door, finding him hunched over his laptop. Yeah, just working on a novel, he sighed, the weight of his insecurities heavy on his shoulders. Her face lit up with excitement. A novel? That's amazing. How is it going? I don't know, he admitted, running a hand through his hair. I am halfway through, but I keep second-guessing myself. What if it is terrible? Marcus, you're a fantastic writer, Jenna reassured him, stepping into the room. Don't let fear rob you of this opportunity. You've come so far. Just remember, every great writer has felt this way at some point. Thanks, Jenna, he said, the warmth of her words wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. I guess I just need to push through. Exactly, and if you ever need a beta reader, I am here, she offered, her smile infectious. We all believe in you. With renewed vigor, Marcus returned to his writing, fueled by the support of his friends. But even as he wrote, the question lingered in the back of his mind, would he ever be ready to share this work with the world? Weeks passed, and he completed the first draft, a whirlwind of emotions flooding through him. It felt surreal, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. He was proud of what he had created, yet the thought of sharing it filled him with trepidation. Now that you've finished, what is next? Aisha asked during their workshop meeting, her curiosity piqued. I am not sure, he admitted, glancing down at the manuscript. I don't know if it is good enough to show anyone. Marcus, you have to let others read it. Trust me, getting feedback is a crucial part of the process. You can't grow unless you share, she advised, her tone gentle yet firm. With a deep breath, he decided to take the plunge. Okay, I'll share it with you guys. I just hope it doesn't fall flat. The following week, he nervously handed out copies of his manuscript during their workshop. As his friends began to read, he felt his heart race with both excitement and anxiety. After they finished, Aisha was the first to break the silence. Marcus, this is incredible. Your characters feel so real, and the emotions are on point. Really? You think so? He asked, his voice laced with disbelief. Absolutely. Janet chimed in. You've captured the essence of struggle and hope beautifully. I can relate to so much of it. Tears pricked at Marcus's eyes as their words washed over him. Thank you, all of you. I was so scared to share it. Don't be, you've got something special here, Aisha encouraged, her smile radiant. Keep refining it, and then we can help you figure out how to submit it for publication. That night, he sat in front of his laptop, fueled by the encouragement of his friends. He began revising, reshaping the story into something even greater. The once daunting task of sharing had transformed into an exhilarating challenge, a chance to let his voice resonate beyond the confines of his own fears. As the weeks rolled by, he made further progress, and with each revision, his confidence grew. He envisioned a future where his words might inspire others, just as Beatrice had inspired him. And then, the moment arrived. He gathered the courage to submit his manuscript to a reputable literary agency. "What if they don't like it?" he whispered to himself as he clicked send. "Marcus, you've put in the work and the heart," Beatrice's words echoed in his mind. "Trust the process." Days turned into a blur of anticipation, hope, and self-doubt. The support of Aisha, Jenna, and the writers' group became his lifeline, reminding him to stay grounded. "You're redoing what you love," they would say, each word a shield against the storm of anxiety. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, an email notification flashed on his phone. His heart raced as he opened it. "Congratulations, we are thrilled to inform you that we would like to represent you." He could hardly breathe as joy washed over him. "I did it, I can't believe it," he shouted, racing to share the news with his friends. "Marcus, that's amazing," Jenna screamed, bouncing on her toes. "We knew you could do it." As they celebrated, he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. It wasn't just about achieving a dream, it was a testament to the power of resilience, community, and the kindness of a rich lady who had changed his life forever. First, you win a writing contest, then you get an agent. What's next? A book deal? Aisha teased with a grin. "Let us not get ahead of ourselves." Marcus laughed, his heart full. "But if that happens, I'll dedicate the book to all of you." As the months rolled on, the journey was filled with ups and downs, editing rounds, meetings, and the occasional setback. Yet through it all, Marcus remained anchored by the knowledge that he was not alone. When the day came for his book to be published, he felt a mix of excitement and nerves. As he held the physical copy in his hands, tears streamed down his cheeks. "I can't believe this is real," he whispered. At the launch event, surrounded by friends, family, and fellow writers, he felt a swell of pride. "This book is not just mine, it belongs to everyone who inspired me along the way," he said, his voice thick with emotion. With each reading, he shared his story, the journey of ups and downs, and the warmth of community. People laughed, cried, and connected through the words he had poured his heart into. Afterward, a young girl approached him, her eyes wide with admiration. "Your story helped me feel brave enough to share mine," she said softly, clutching a copy of his book. "You have your own magic," he replied, kneeling down to meet her gaze. "Don't ever let fear stop you from sharing it." As the evening drew to a close, Marcus looked around the room, the faces illuminated by hope. He realized that his journey had transformed from one of self-doubt to one